about to get into that 2XL because I can't read a freaking label to save my life sometimes.
And I'm changing my diet, so that I'm gonna need to work out. So you pick again.
Awesome. And of course, so I sent a large shirt for John's wife. So I don't know how big or how small she is, but if she was going to fit into a medium, she's going to swim into a large.
Oh, she's an extra small, so that'll be a nightgown for her.
All right. Listen, everybody. I don't really have an intro because my partner for the show, he's on vacation in San Antonio, Texas, with his lovely girlfriend Danielle. It's a much needed vacation for him. So we are here with Mr. William Verity. We are here with Mr. John Palmer on tonight's JK'z Rewatchable Hour show. We are going to talk about the meaning of having positive people around you. And as I had just stated a few minutes ago, you two are two of the most positive people I have ever met. Obviously, you know, Bill, you've been very instrumental in my life for the last 8 years or so. John, you and I, we just reconnected once again. And I just want to, you know, get your guys' opinion on what having positive people around you, like what that means to you, each individual.
Who do you want to start?
It don't matter. Whoever jumps out first.
Oh, go ahead, John. I'll let you go.
Yeah. So, you know, it's funny when you sent this topic to us, and I've been thinking about it for probably the last 24, 36 hours. You know, obviously, as a group, we send a lot of different stuff to each other on social media platforms just to be able to be encouraging and being positive. And I feel like in today's society, we need that because of how much is you know always portrayed in the media as negative and bad things. You know, we need something to be able to you know lift us up and encourage us on a daily basis. You know, it's something that probably in the last 5 to 7 years of my life, I've been really intentional on setting boundaries of who to let get close to me and get close to and who not to. You know, I feel like, you know, growing up as we were in high school and going through our younger years and even into our 20s, you know, we just were looking at, okay, how many friends can we have? How many people can we connect with? And I feel like, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way. As we get older, we pick and choose who we want in our life. That circle that we all talk about tends to get smaller. And I feel the depth and the quality of the friendships and the relationships that we develop have deeper roots. You know, they're more valuable. And I think I'd rather have 3 or 4 people that are, you know, as we talked about many times before, that are those 3 a.m. people than, you know, 50, 100 people, 6 p.m. people.
Absolutely.
You know, and I feel the best analogy I was taught years ago was, you know, looking at the value of the people around you and the group around you. You know, take the worth of, if we talk about currency, you know, take a look at you know, if you were to take $1 in change, you know, if you were to have 100 pennies to make that dollar, each one of those individual pennies aren't very valuable. But I think I would rather have 4 quarters and 4 true people than those 100 other people in my life, because those 4 people I know would pretty much do anything for me because I've developed those relationships so deep. That bond is pretty much unbreakable at this point in my life.
That's actually a very good analogy. I kind of like, I've heard that saying before, you know, the 100 pennies as opposed to 4 quarters. And I get exactly what you're saying. You know, Bill, I know that you're going to chime in because obviously I'm very partial when it comes to you. So take it away, sir.
I think, you know, mine started at an early age. I mean, I surrounded myself with negative people, an older group of people. So, you know, I thought, you know, like some boys would hanging out with older people, drinking and and stuff would be a cool thing to do. And I had teachers, two specifically, Mr. Alsheimer and Mr. Clary. Mr. Alsheimer gently told me, like, hey, you can do something with your life. And then Mr. Roger Clary basically beat it into me with one of the boards in woodshop class. So it started out with guys like that really like taking notice to who I was and what my potential was. And as quickly as I found it, sports and a career, I lost it. I lost it, in my addiction. And I had, and this is a good point that John made, I had a ton of friends, thousands of friends, and they were always around me. And the minute I quit drinking, those thousands and thousands of friends whittled down to about 10. 10 really important people. 10 people. And I saw the qualities in these people. They just shined. And it was amazing because it was overshadowed by 2,800 dipshits. So, I mean, mine has been like life lessons here and there. And I've taken upon myself to share most of that with the world and whoever wants to listen. Because I think it's important to have positive people in your life, whether it be 4 or 1. But it's also, letting people know that if you stray off that path and you surround yourself in negativity, you can get right back on the road to, where you should be. Those positive people are people that truly care about your well-being, not about what you have in your pockets, your bank account, what you drive, what you look like, that just care about you. And those are the people you want around, the genuine people that aren't looking for anything. So, it's kind of where I found myself at 50. I wish I'd like to shake a lot of people in this world and just tell them how much better it could be just by, either sharing or moving away from the negativity, finding the positive people, like yourself, Jeff. I mean, you talk about us. You take your free time and you give it willingly to us and to other people out there. And that's important. It's important that people know that, you don't need to get something to give something. You can just give something, and that's a great feeling. So you can be that person. You can be that real person for someone else. So
And
that's what I strive for every day.
And you do a great job, both of you do. And with what you were just saying was, when I do some, like I never look to like somebody you owe me. I don't believe in that. I mean, I think like if you loan somebody $1,000, okay, listen, you gotta pay me back. But like if you do something nice for somebody, and I always believe like if you're looking for them to owe you, then you're doing it for a stupid reason instead of just like the word you use, genuine. Be just genuine and be like, what does it take to help somebody if you absolutely can, you know what I mean?
You don't have to be a religious person either. I mean, it's just, I feel like we were put here for, it's all a big test. It's what you do with your life. I mean, do you want to be just that self-absorbed, inward thinking person, or do you want to actually give? Yeah, I mean, give with your free time, like yourself, like both of you guys. It not only does it make you feel better, but you can help. You can make a difference in this world. I mean, and isn't that what?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm at.
And
I'd love to be around the two of you because I think you're the same. You're the same as me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. John, what were you going to say? I didn't want to cut you off.
No, that's fine. I was just, I think to kind of piggyback on Will's point a little bit, being able to give without any intention of getting something back is huge. Because I feel like, again, we talk about that hundred pennies situation, or all those people that were in William's life prior to that, a lot of those people were probably in that to see what they could get from that relationship, and they're takers. As much as I hate to say that, there's a lot of people in this world that, are just looking out for themselves, and they're just saying, okay, what can I get out of this friendship, this relationship, whatever. And it's funny. I go back and I use, based on my experience, if people are married, how many times have you always heard marriage is 50-50? I don't view it that way. I think marriage has to be 100% from each person, and not expecting
Yes.
anything back in return. So you've got to give of yourself to be able to show that person who you are, and again, not expect anything in return. But I also think, and this is what I was going to say to my point, for someone like us to be able to give the way we give, we have to have it inside of us. You have to have it inside you to give it. If you don't have it inside you, you can't give it.
Yep.
Absolutely agree.
You want to hear a thing that I waited 5 years. So when I first got sober, I spoke to an absolute brilliant man who I actually talk to every day. He's a security guard up in Cornell now. A brilliant man. And he knew I wanted to help people. While I was in rehab, I told him, I said, I want to do everything I can, because I just felt like a wave come over me. I'm like, listen, I need to help people. I'm like, I might not be able to be a counselor, but what can I do? And he told me, he's like, I want you to stay sober for 5 years. 5 years. Do not date. Do not go on a single. Do not, do anything but learn. Learn about yourself. Learn about your mistakes. Learn about everything. And when you get it to that 5 years, if you feel like you have something to give back, then you're ready. And I did just that. And he was exactly right. If I would have tried it 3 years, I wouldn't have been ready. But at 5 years, I was relaxed. I was calm. I had, clear-headed. And that's when I started helping people back in 2015. And
wow.
it's
amazing.
It made me a person.
Yeah, that I never knew that. I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that. Obviously we all have stories, and I think every time we do a certain show like this, one little extra nugget comes out that makes me go, "Hey, I didn't know that." And that's really cool. That So thank you for sharing that, Will. I wanna give you guys two words here, and tell me what you guys think about it. What do you guys think of the yes friends and the no friends? What's your guys' definition of that?
You want to take it, John?
Well, I was going to say the first thing that pops into my mind is just, how many people are yes people in life to begin with? There's a lot of people that are people pleasers, and they would say yes to anything. They don't want conflict. They don't want to deal with anything if they say no. I was probably one of those people in my early 20s, and
I think we all were at one time.
Sure.
Especially when it came to work. If the boss said, "Hey, I need this, I need that," you're trying to make an impression. You're trying to do good. You're trying to work yourself up the corporate ladder, however you want to phrase it. So you did anything and everything that person asked of you. I think it kind of goes the same thing in relationships. When you're newly in a relationship and you're potentially trying to impress somebody or put out that impression of this is who you are, sometimes you're probably going to be that yes person instead of possibly saying no and standing on a certain principle that you truly believe in. So now I've learned to also say no to people. So I can set those boundaries for myself, especially now when we talk about positive people and negative people. I think over the last 5 years, I've unfollowed so many people's accounts on Facebook because all they're posting, they're just dumping their negativity on there. And I don't want that. I don't want to read it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to, see it. And it's just something that I'm intentionally just saying, I'm done. I don't want to see this. And I'm only accepting, positive people in my life. So, those yes and no people, you have to be selective with who you are really letting get close to you.
No, absolutely. You said it exactly. And I don't know if you guys have ever, we see you, Bill. We see you.
Gotta do
You're all good.
Life.
John, you said it exactly perfectly because, I think at one time we were all, a yes person, like, oh yeah, hey, I'll go and do this. And just like you, and like what Bill said, he knows thousands of people. I know lots of people, but like, I don't have a lot of friends because I don't want a lot of friends because, I just believe that, and I'm not trying to insult anyone. I'm just saying if somebody's happy, that's fine with them. It just means that I respect you, but I don't need that around me. So like somebody like you would never ask a person what to do or a broke person what to do with your money, right? Because that person's always broke. So what I keep myself away from is the ones that I think everybody complains because I'm complaining right now. I get that, but I also have solutions in life. Does that make sense? What I stay what I stay away from are the ones that are always complaining and just never try to better themselves and never try to find a solution. I mean, I'll be the first one to say life is not easy. I get that, but like if you don't change the way you think to a more positive focus, you're never going to be anything more than what you are right now. And that was one of the things that I learned not only from our good friend John Diesel, but also from Bill Verity from when we started talking. And he never once was like, dude, you're a jerk for thinking this. He never said anything negative. He's like, listen, I'm here to help you. What can I do? And I had it inside of me, but it was just one of those things where I was surrounded by all the yes people, and I mean, people can call me heartless, but I am a true believer of saying no. Like there's people around me that I work with and this and that, and some of the things that they say and some of the things that they do, I'm like, no, that's not for me. That's you. You're already set in your way. That's fine. But guess what? I can't change you. I'm just going to pick myself up and move me over here. You know what? You do what you got to do. If you want to get on my level, and I'm not saying that I'm a narcissist, but when you want to get on my level, hey, we can try to hook back up and talk. But if you're just going to constantly just be in that negative stage, you're a yes person, and I don't want to be around it. I mean, like. I think the three of us are very mature. So like, even if we did have a disagreement, it's not like, oh, okay, well, you're such a jerk or you're this or that. It's like, no, it's like we respect each other's opinion, but the ones that always just are the yes people, and like I wish somebody would have just shook me by the shoulders years ago and be like, listen, what you're doing is wrong. Instead of some people just pacifying me, like, hey, you know what, you're doing the best you can do. No, I wasn't. It's just I didn't have the positive people around me, and that's what you need. And that's just, I know, Bill, you have something to share, so I'm going to let you go ahead.
You just said something that's really, 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 really important that's going on right now is that, it's okay. This whole coddling thing with what's going on in the generation now is ridiculous. Like, it's not okay. Like, it's people need to be real, like, and not pamper anymore. Like, really, like, talk, like what we're talking about. Like, get out there and be real and stop just patting each other on the back like it's going to be all right. And people just have lost contact with positivity, and the means it's out there. It's just, I don't know. Society is just, they're making it easy for people. Like, you see it every day. It's inward thinking.
Too easy.
Well, society has been warped by the media's manipulation.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's
horrible.
Yep. And I just want to kind of touch on two things you said, Jeff. Yeah, I'm kind of writing little bits of notes here too. But when you were just talking, the one word I wrote down was mindset. Because you have to switch and change your mindset first before anything else. If you can't change your mindset, nothing else will follow. And it's, another thing I wrote down is those, when you're a no person, and you don't have those people behind you with what you're doing, there's going to be certain points in your life where the people that truly love you, they're not always going to be those yes people that support you in everything you do. They're going to have those hard conversations with you and say, look, I don't agree with what you're doing. Here's what I feel may happen. And they may need to tell you, look, this isn't the right thing you're doing, or you're not going down the right path. And sometimes you need people in your life to be able to say that to you. So they're not just constantly supporting you and constantly, being that yes person in your life.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think you definitely do need that part. Yes. Go ahead, Bill.
I mean, I look at it more of, I don't really see it as the yes and no. To me, the way I conduct myself with the people around me, it's can and can't.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a can? I can't. There's no can't in this house. There never is. You can do anything. You can do anything.
I like that.
So the yes and the no is similar. I mean, I understand it's the same thing. It's how we do things. The yes and no people, you can spot them. You can spot them from, we've been around them all our lives. Hell, we went to school with one of the worst. I mean, he's not with us anymore. We all know who he is, and I won't say his name. But we went to school with one of the worst. So we got to see, and he manipulated people. He made people into yes people. And I had never forgotten him. That's a lesson I learned in high school. And I've always kept my eyes open, and I've been fortunate for it. And like I said, I always try to not only learn from these things, but help other people with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to me, it's a can and can't.
No, I like that. I wrote that down and I circled it. I just want to add just my opinion on the yes people. I think sometimes the yes people are the followers who are trying to fit in. I mean, I was a yes person. I was a follower because, I mean, not so much now, but everybody wants to be accepted in some way, right? So if you're a new person at work, right, and you're with people who've been working together for 10 or 15 years, you're going to be like, oh yeah, this is really funny. You guys are really cool. Just trying to be accepted. I'm just giving an analogy. But I think now it's like, I mean, people are going to watch this show and they're like, oh, you guys are a bunch of narcissists. No, it's just, my bar is like so far over my head that, it's just because I was around it for so long. And I remember where I once was, and I will never, ever go back there ever again. So, and that also comes with maturity and being around positive people. I heard this thing once, and I want to share. If you hang out with 10 smokers on an everyday basis, eventually you're going to be a smoker, right? I mean, maybe not, but I heard that somewhere, and I was thinking about that today at work. And it just, I don't know. I like people who tell me no, and not to be a jerk, but like, hey, listen, like if I'm doing something wrong, and they say, hey, this isn't the way, you should be doing it. You could be doing it this way. That's great. But if somebody's like, hey, no, you're doing it wrong because you're a jerk. Well, then, that's just the wrong person. I don't mind constructive criticism, especially from somebody who's been through something and can vouch for themselves. Again, I'm very partial to Bill, obviously. And John, I'm loving the things that you send us in Messenger. So when you guys do that, I take that as like, hey, I'm gonna follow these people. I'm gonna listen to them because this is positive. This is in no way any type of negativity. Do you guys have anything to share on just the can and can't, the yes no people?
I think just to back up what you said, Jeff, you know, the analogy, I shouldn't say analogy, but the one thing I was always taught is you're the sum of the 5 people that you associate the most with, you know, very
Yes.
similar to what you just said. So whether it's, you know, again, when you talk about, you know, your family life, or you talk about your spiritual life, or you talk about your financial life, or your health, or whatever, all those different areas of your life, you're going to be the sum of the 5 closest people you associate with. So the question really is, who do I want to associate with? You know, do I want to associate with people that in my personal observation, may not be where I want to be in life? Or do I want to associate with the people that I see that life that, you know, I potentially want to live? So I think that's, you know, obviously a key factor in your association.
So that actually goes back to your 4 quarters, like you said. You know, yeah, I like that. I'm writing stuff down. So when I'm looking down, I'm writing. Don't think I'm ignoring people. It's
No, you're
just
good.
I'm trying to write as fast as you're talking. So, I want to throw out some just some people that I want to be around, and then I want your opinion on the type of people you want to be around. I'm really big on people that are triers, you know. And what I mean by that is like not waking up and doing the same thing every day and just constantly complaining. The person who wakes up and is like, hey, you know, I'm gonna try something different today, to try to get me to the next level. I also want to be around achievers, you know, people who maybe were down way at the bottom and dug themselves out, and they persevered, and they just did so much that they got everything that they wanted, because I think positivity is huge vibe, and I think it's contagious. Also, you need a support system, and you need, you know, along with that, somebody to clap for you. And I'm not saying every day come up and give you, you know, a pat on the back, because I don't want that, but I think acknowledgement is also huge, to be around people who will acknowledge you. What's your guys' take on that? And did I leave anything out, in your opinion?
I mean, it sounded like you covered a lot of the bases that I would cover. So I mean, to me, positive reinforcement, like you said, is, I mean, it's key. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. It doesn't make you a narcissist. It's just, you know, somebody, like you said, to say, hey, you know, you're doing a good job. You know, when somebody tells me I'm doing a good job with these kids, it melts me. I'm like, all right. You know, I'm like, so it helps. It really does. So I think those things are really important. The little things. It doesn't have to be big things. It's the little things in life that really do matter.
Yep, 100%.
Excellent way to say it. What's your take on, John? Is there anything like another word?
Well, the 2 things I wrote down to your first point is, you know, your first point, I think I've always viewed a little differently, because kind of to what Will's said earlier, you know, there's people that try and there's people that do. So, you know, obviously follow the action people, follow the people that will figure it out and just get shit done, you know. And the second, you know, the second word I wrote down to kind of from what you were talking about, people that were, you know, achievers or achievement coming from the bottom and getting to the top. Those are overcomers. Those are people that overcome any circumstance in their life to get to where they need to be. And I go back to a verse that is quoted in the Bible quite a bit. It's called "Life and Death is in the Power of the Tongue." And when we talk about people that complain and people that are negative, you know, speaking that manifests it in your life. So the more, I truly believe, the more that people complain, the more that people are negative, the more that they bring that on in their life, they manifest that toward them and to them. So it's that mindset change, and you've got to manifest, and it may sound crazy, but you may have to start doing positive affirmations, looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself how great you are and where you want to be in life. And I want to do this and I want to be here and I want to do that. The more you can do that and speak that into your life, you'll see the reward down the road.
Yeah, I don't touch on this too often, and I'll do it today just because I love the two of you. But when I got the phone call about cancer, I was floored, obviously because of my situation, my marriage, and everybody in my life has passed away. So now I got to figure out what to do with these two little kids. So I started just crying. You know, why me? Why me? And suddenly it hit me. And I'm like, wait a minute. You know, I was given this gift, these kids, and sobriety, which because of it, I have these kids. It just, something hit me and it made me just thank, you know, the fact that I overcame all these things to, you know, have these children, you know, no matter what happened in the marriage, I have these children. And then it hit me again. He said, wait a minute, you know, if I did that, maybe it could be cancer. You know, and the lady, I'll never forget, she told me, she's like, you know, you're going to be doing this for a couple of years, one to 3 years, probably. You know, we're going to go through a bunch of like screens and this and that. And about a year down the road, we'll start chemo. She goes, but there's a 1 in a million chance that we might not have to do any of this stuff. And, you know, we can go right in and do the operation. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And she's like, oh, I like your attitude, yada, yada, yada. And I kept the positive attitude. And the next time I went in there, she told me, not going to believe this, but this is that 1 in a million chance that I told you about. And we're going to go in and we're going to operate. So to go back on what John said, the power of positivity, the power of not, you know, I'm not saying I cured myself or anything like that, but I didn't bury my head in the sand. I was positive that whatever happened, and whatever outcome was going to happen, but I was going to be damned if I was going to sit and not try to do everything I could, you know, to beat it. But I was positive. And that's what you have to be. You have to be positive. And if you're not, find somebody who is, you know, and surround yourself with it, because it's infectious.
Absolutely. You know, with what you just said, I remember when you had called me and you told me that you were cured. I mean, again, you know, it was like the second time that you made me break down and cry while I was at work, which is okay because, you know, and I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Years.
You know, and with what you just said, and I want to go back to what John was just saying, the positive mindset, you know. I tell everybody I'm going to talk to as many people as I possibly can because I just never know who it's going to lead me to. And let alone it led me and John, who we grew up in the same town, but I don't know if we ever really talked a lot through high school. It is whatever it is. And here we are. We have each other's phone numbers. I now have your address so I can stalk you. And but here we are because, you know, I decided to change my mindset. And I'm open up to meeting people from my past that, you know, for whatever reason, never talked to, never hung out with, whatever. And I think that's a very important thing that anybody has to understand is if you just change your outlook, like Billy said, in his household, there is no can't, it's we can. And because of people like John and Billy, John Diesel, I started changing how it took a while because it's kind of scary to change. But it did. I started changing how I viewed everything, and which led me back to John Palmer, who we grew up in the same small town, and here we are. We're talking like we never lost touch for 30 some years. I think that's a powerful what you were trying to say at the end of your speech, and I was trying to write down, but I cannot take shorthand to save my life. So.
Surrounding yourself with positive people, you know, and that's you're doing work and you're surrounding yourself with people that are positive, you know, you can't be beat. I mean, right now you're doing, you know, I don't want to say you're doing the Lord's work, but you're doing the right thing. And
Thank you.
it's a shame more people don't do it, but they could be, somebody's watching right now, and you probably touched a nerve with somebody, and that's all you need is that one person, that one person to watch you, and then now they're going to be thinking about doing this, and they're going to help people. So I mean, the ripple effect, it's a real thing. I've seen it happen over the years, and it doesn't matter if it's only one person.
You and I are actually living proof of that ripple effect, Bill. Seriously.
And my thing is I'm always humble, because
you are.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be. I mean, especially in my situation, because the minute I let my guard down, I know how irresponsible I am. And, I know it'll never happen. I mean, I know in my heart of hearts, I'll never drink again. And that's why people in AA hate me, but I don't care. I know that I will never drink again. I've been through everything, and I've never wanted it. I never will. But I don't let my guard down, ever. I've been surrounded by it, and I always will be surrounded by it. And I have to understand that it's part of life, and that's the thing with everything. Don't shelter yourself if you're a smoker. Don't shelter yourself from people. Just, you did this. I mean, you got it. You can do it. Just stay the course. Don't let somebody's excuse or let your own excuse bring you back to, a bad decision. You always, but stay with positive people. I'm not saying go in a room full of smokers.
No, but with what you were just saying, I know John had something to say. You said stay the course, and that is, every time I do something really good in the gym, like I hit a new PR, I always hashtag stay the course, because I believe, like, if you continue to keep on just trying and trying and trying, eventually you're going to achieve. And I was thinking about that earlier today at work, the phrase stay the course. And that also goes hand in hand with, having support, like you guys and me. I mean, I never thought 5 years ago that I would be doing a podcast with John Palmer. I mean, but that's the positivity that in the mindset, and it's
Positive people.
and it is, and it's also, it makes me feel good, knowing that I am surrounded by this, and that we have the girls on the show. They're all busy, but at any time I don't know what I've stumbled in, and I'm not going to question it. It's just, I feel very blessed to have a circle of people that I think are good influences. They are positive, and more importantly, they have my back. I'm still, John and I, we're going to set up a luncheon. We were supposed to do it a few weeks ago. His daughter was down, for college, but it just didn't line up. But we're still going to get together for lunch.
Sure, 100%.
And I think that just not only just doing the show, but my mindset in life is, I want to meet more people like John and Bill. I want to meet just more people and that's why I talk to everybody at the gym. That's why I talk to anybody outside of the gym or work. You just never know who they will lead you to. And I'm also a true believer. I want to get your guys' opinion on this. This might, be a little sad. I think that I had to go through all of that shit that I went through in my life, whether it was life in general or I made very bad decisions, to absolutely get to this point. I'm not a religious person, and I don't have anything against anybody who does. I support you. It's great. If this is what you believe in, I'm going to support you. But I just think, like, I had to go through all of that because there was a bigger plan for me, and it took one post from Bill Verity to, like, that. No matter what I did in my life, I never got to that next level until I read that post from Bill, and I instantly messaged him on Messenger, and it just helped change my And had he have never reposted that, I honestly don't know if I would be here right now, being what I am right now.
You would.
Which I don't know. I mean, I try not to think about it because I kind of like the journey that I'm on. I'm loving the journey that I'm on. I'm all those years that I was never in control of my life, and now I'm in complete control of everything that I do every day.
Let me tell. I remember you from 30 years ago. Now 35. Let me say 35. I remember you 35 years ago, and you were still the same sweet person you are now that you were then. Like honestly, you've always been a great person. You were surrounded by some dickheads. Can I say that on air?
Yes.
You were surrounded by some not great people, which is what we're talking about. So was I, because we were in the same group of people. And you got through it and you learned from it. And here you are. And you're surrounded by these people for a reason, myself included. I posted something that touched you because it was something that it was about me, and it was, it touched something about you, and that's what it's all about, is just finding similarities. But it never changed. It didn't. I just want you to know that it didn't change you. Like, you've always been an amazing person.
Thank you.
You're just growing. You're just growing, and you're growing the way you should. And now you're helping other people, which is absolutely wonderful.
I appreciate the kind words. I'm trying not to shed a tear right now, but
I mean, it's just being honest. I mean, it's hard. I'm not pumping you up on the radio or anything. I would tell you this if I saw you on the street. I mean, you know me.
No, and you did. You did when we saw each other in November. Yep, you did.
Yep. Yeah, and I think
now I told everybody else who's watching.
Yep. And we've all gone through those valleys, Jeff, that you talk about. We've gone through a lot of tough situations in life. I mean, that's what molds us who we are today. Something I said, I think it might have been last week or a couple of weeks ago when I was on, but before breakthroughs, there's brokenness. So we're going to be broken down to sometimes what we feel is our lowest level in life before we come out of that. But, the one thing I always kind of go back to is I feel, and again, this is just me personally in my belief system, I feel God is bringing me through that because he already sees the outcome on the other side. I just don't see it yet. So he's got to take me through that because he knows I'm going to change, I'm going to learn, and I'm going to be a better person on the other side, and have a true impact in helping other people.
I was trying to write. What are those court reporter people that do all? I'm going to need one of them when I'm trying to take notes.
Stenographers. Yeah,
that's what it is. I'm trying to show. Yeah, this is horrible, but I have a question, and I want you guys to tell me your honest opinion. If somebody tells you something about somebody else, what is your, like, okay, let's say, they say, hey, Tom's a hell of a guy, he'll do anything for you. I'll just start with a positive thing first. I just want to get, like, what would be your first, like Tom's coming to work, right? He's going to come work with you guys, and your other good friend that you trust says, hey, this guy is so great, he'll give you the shirt off his back. What's your first initial, like, take on that?
He's being overinflated for some reason. I take people as I see them, not as like somebody tells me. So if somebody
perspectives are different.
Somebody like they'll do this, they'll do that. I never trust it. To me, it's you're overinflating somebody before I even meet them. I don't want to meet them. Or I'll meet them, but you've already planted a seed that hopefully isn't true, but 9 out of 10 times it is.
Right. John, what's your take? Because there's a reason why I asked that question.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody came up to me and said, hey, this person's going to come to work with us, or hey, I want to introduce you to this person, they're great, this and that, I'll be like, hey, great, I would love to meet them. But I think just in general, as people, we're always a little reserved because we want to observe that person. And most people are going to get their own thoughts and, I guess, quote unquote, opinion about that person with how you interact with them. Just because someone else sees them in one way doesn't mean I'm going to see them that exact same way. So I think, I think to kind of back up what Will said, a lot of how I'm going to feel about them eventually, I think has to be earned, and it has to, that trust has to be established for me to probably feel the same way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what you each said. And just hold that thought, Bill. The reason why I asked that, I want to go back to the yes and no friends, and that was more towards the yes people, like, and I know that I used to be that, like, oh, so this person is so great, cool, I'm just gonna go and surround myself with them, and then before I knew it, I was already too involved with this friend that I don't want to be around, but so that's what I was talking about the yes and no friends, like I'm in agreement with each of you. Like, you can tell me all this great thing about this individual, it's great, I'll meet him or her, but my impression of them is not going to be the same as yours. And I think too many people fall into that category, I guess I want to use, is like, oh yeah, well Susie down at the market said that this person's a great person. Well, but it's not the same as everybody else, and I think that's wrong.
Right.
Because you should be able to speak up and say no.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give everybody a chance. It's just a matter of, are they gonna, again, as we spoke earlier, am I gonna see right through that person? Am I gonna, see how they act? And it's funny because I've actually had a few people that we went to high school with, or I knew growing up, that have reached back out to me that I haven't talked to in 20 years, 25 years. And they're like, oh, I'm up in this area now. Let's hang out. Let's do this. And I'm at the point in my life now where, again, I have those boundaries. And I'm not afraid to say, hey, thanks for reaching out. Hope you're doing great. But, with all due respect, don't take this the wrong way. Right now, I don't have any time or energy in my life to start developing another friendship at this point. Not to say it couldn't happen in the future, but right now I've got all this other stuff going on with my family, with my other friends, this and that. I don't want to try to have to spend more time and energy developing a close relationship unless they're seeking that, or, potentially, hey, I saw you on the podcast. I love your mindset. I want to connect with other like-minded people, things like that. And then I know, okay, let's have coffee. Let's have lunch. Let's see if there could be some sort of a connection made and a potential friendship or a business connection or whatever. But I want to be able to see, their mindset and what they are, looking to, I guess, get out of the friendship or the relationship per se.
Absolutely. Anything, Bill?
I have this is kind of random. So I'm the kind of person that if I just see something happening, I have to interject. And this happened 2 days ago. I'm walking down the Commons, I'm working, and I see this young man walking up to me, and he's got something sticking out above his head. Back of his head looks like a stick. And I'm like, okay. And there's a lot of mental people out there that they get released as long as they're on their meds. So as it gets closer, I realize it's not a stick and it's a sword. A full sword. He's got it strapped to his back on the Commons, and he's about 18, not very big. So as I walk by, I stop him and I said, "Listen, dude, I gotta ask you. Is that a sword?" Because he's got it underneath his coat. He's like, "Yeah, you want to see it?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Listen," and I sat him down. I said, "Can you sit for a minute?" There's a bench right there, and I said, "Do me a favor." I said, "If you got this on because it makes you feel safe," I said, "that's great." I said, "But if you pull this sword out in front of the wrong person, they're going to use it as an excuse to do something bad." And he didn't know any better. Like, I talked to him, he's smiling at me the whole time. But that's the kind of people that I put myself in front of on a daily basis. Like I do it a lot when I work because I'm around a lot of unstable people. But I try to help whoever I can. So I don't. When you say a yes man, I just want to go back to that. I guess I'm kind of an absurd yes man. Like I don't take no. Like I'm always trying to help somebody, even in my head. If my head tells me you shouldn't go up to that person, if I feel like I can help him, I'll take a minute. I'll just take a minute, take a stab. And I saw this kid the day after, and he didn't have the sword. I was like, okay, maybe that was a little bit of a mental win. But I'm sure next week he'll probably. All the police. I don't know if you know this. They all the homeless are in hotels in Ithaca during the winter, and they kick them out. They just put them on the streets. So in the last 2 weeks, the comments. Be very careful. The comments have been pretty unstable people. So I've been doing whatever I can to kind of like, shuffle some of these new, young, unstable people away from some of these people that they're pretty bad. So yeah, I was thinking about that when John was talking, and it just had to share them. So sorry.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love random acts of kindness. I don't know. I'm a sucker for it. Like I love it. About I don't know, maybe a month ago, I don't know, wife and I were going right down the road. We were going to breakfast, and as we were coming over into the double lane, I saw this guy. He was he had his driver's side door open, but he was trying to go backwards. So I just friggin' quickly pulled over. I'm like, I said, "You need a push." It was an older guy, so I pushed, and this guy was still trying to hold his door open with the steering wheel. I said, "No, just get in, and I will push you into the parking lot." And he came up to me and said, "Oh, thank you so much. You know how many people drove by?" And I was like, "What do you mean people just drove by?" They're like, "Yeah, nobody stopped and helped me." And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I'm like, I don't know. The guy had to be 80. I don't know. And I was just like, holy shit, somebody couldn't stop and maybe just push you with their bumper. And I'm just like, I shook his hand and he's like, hey, thank you, and we went about our way. But I love random acts of kindness because I think it just, I think it does, I think it just shows that there's good in the world,
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's good in you. And that's what it's all about, is doing something and not asking for anything in return. But
oh yeah, never, no.
I'm a religious person, and I didn't think I was. I know I am now, but doing stuff like that, I mean, it's doing work. You're doing the work, whether your higher power, your inner strength. It's however you want to look at it. You're doing it. And if one person did that for one person every single day, this world would be a much different place.
Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yep. 100%.
Agreed.
And it all goes back to you, Jeff. You're getting people in rooms, and that's important.
Thank you. So it's really funny. So some of the stuff that we talked about, I wrote down, so I didn't really have to discuss it, which is really great because I like being around like-minded people. Does anybody just before we end this, either of you have anything you just want to share? You want to end, with something positive from whatever, the floor is yours.
I mean, I'd just like to say this podcast. I think, to shine the light on you for a change, you and Craig. You're doing an incredibly good thing.
Thank you.
And well, I mean, I'm thanking you, because like I said, this is going to go out and you don't know who's going to see this, but you're giving people opportunities to listen to 3 different people talk about ways that, may help them, may not, but more than likely you're going to get to somebody, and that's you and Craig. So that's important. And I'm very blessed to be a part of it. And I thank you.
Oh, thank you. Just before you answer, John, Earlier I was talking about, I talk to everybody because I just never know who it's going to lead me to. So establishing a great friendship with Becky Sherwalk, who now we are like incredible friends, led me to Craig. I mean, that's what I was trying to say earlier, but I was thinking of other things. Had I have never changed my mindset, like that's what I was trying to say, I never would have met Craig Pemberton, and I probably would not be doing this podcast with such positive that we're trying to accomplish here. So just before John says this thing, my final thing is, if you change your mindset and you think positive, and the shit's going to come, it's going to be bad. But if you just think positive and you find a solution, you one day could be sitting in a position where you're like, wait a minute, all I had to do was just think positive and change my mindset and surround myself with good people.
Exactly. Yep. And I think the thing that I guess I'll end with, kind of to back your point, Jeff, is, when we change the way that we look at things, the things we actually look at change. And when we have that mindset shift and you're seeking all positivity in your life and you actually speak it and you start to live it, whether people, again, back to Will's point, want to believe it or not, whether it's a higher power, whether it's whatever you believe in, your life starts to become blessed down the road. And then when that happens, you've got to change from you got to change. The term I use is you got to change from attitude to gratitude. I've got the positive attitude. Now I need to be able to be gracious about the life that I've been given and the path that I'm going, and have that gratitude with everything you have in life.
No, absolutely. I mean, like I don't know. We can talk all night about all the positive things in life, and believe it or not, like John, whenever you send us a positive thing or whatever, like one of the things that I do is I watch them. I might not always react to them, but I'm like, this individual took a moment out of his or her life to send this to me, and because we're on the same mindset, so I'm going to watch it. I'm going to try to see and listen and to see if I'm getting exactly what you're trying to put down. So, or the meaning behind it. And so, if nobody else has anything to add, I appreciate you gentlemen coming on. I thank you for the kind words. Thank you for the positivity. Thank you for sharing some of your personal, your history. I greatly appreciate it. Again, two of the most positive, upbeat people that I know and that I am blessed to have in my life. Thank you all for watching the show. Thank you guys for coming on the show. Don't worry, Palmer, the Buffalo Bills don't draft yet, so
we're good.
but listen, gentlemen, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope that you guys have a great night. And as Craig Kelso would say, if you find yourself stumbling in life, you're on the right podcast.
Thank you.
All right. Love you guys. We're out.
All right. Love
Thank
you.
you guys.
See you. Yep.
See you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Go Chicago. See you guys.